Hi, this is Buster Graham, and you're watching WGS-TV.
Hello everyone, welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGamer and ZFX-TV. I'm the WrestleGamer, Double B Boudreaux, and this is going to be the Money in the Bank review from last night's show, and there are a few things that we've learned from last night's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. One thing in particular is that there are a lot of butthurt fans out there who apparently just don't really seem to get my point of view when it comes to wrestling. So just sit back, relax, and listen to what we have to say. Okay? Because we're not going to be like trolls on Facebook, you know, like saying F this, F that, F that, F, 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 F. No, that's not what we're about here on WGS TV. We're about intelligent wrestling discussion. Alright? We're not going to go blaming on saying, you know, I hate this, I hate this. So that's not the way it's going to be happening, and that's not the way it's going to be doing here on WGS TV. So let me introduce the panel for this week's for the Money in the Bank review. First off, ladies and gentlemen, he is our resident believer. It's James, the Big Easy. James, how you doing?
I'm gonna miss Daniel Bryan because Bo Dallas is a boner.
Yes, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to WGS TV, and a happy belated birthday to Squire Alfy. Alfy, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, and thank you for the birthday wish. You had a great day.
And ladies and gentlemen, also making his return to WGS TV, it's Mike from Iowa. Mike, how you doing?
I am absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to discuss the issues with these Cena haters, man. I can't wait.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, you know, there's a lot to discuss when it comes to what happened at Money in the Bank last night. You know, I know there were a lot of people out there who follow me on Facebook when I posted up the news about what happened with the Money in the Bank championship match that were really just, I would say, I think the only word I can say is butthurt. That's all I can say. I mean, let's go ahead and do the rundown of the show and talk about what happened. First off, the Tag Team Championship online, the Usos taking on Rowan and Harper. And I gotta say, I like WWE trying to, you know, step up the new entrance theme, you know, trying to giving Rowan and Harper their own theme. You know, we heard it, I believe it was like last week on SmackDown, you know, their attempt to try to do, you know, he's got the whole world in his hands, either on a harmonica or an organ, and I think maybe it just didn't go over with the fans very well. So I think that's probably why they tried to change up the theme. James, what are your thoughts on the new theme? Do you think it kind of fits Rowan and Harper, or do you think they need to try to push it and try something else?
I feel like it works because really the whole thing with them not using Bray Wyatt's theme was because, you know, that whole thing needed Bray Wyatt and the fact that it needed like a light out or like all that. But I think it's like at the same time, I think they might need to go a different route with a theme. But I'll agree with the theme no matter what, really.
Now, this was a very good tag team match for the titles. You know, not very often you could hear me say that about a tag team match in the WWE, but it was indeed a really well-worked match. It came down to Jimmy Uso and the top rope splash, and the Usos retained the championship. So I think right there, that's what a lot of the IWC were hating at first. Now that Harper and Rowan, that probably their pick for tag team champions, didn't get the job done. Following that, we had the Divas Championship, Paige and Naomi, and I gotta say the Divas in the WWE are really starting to step it up. I mean, Paige and Naomi, they went all out for that Divas Championship, Alfy, and I gotta say, you know, they really impressed me.
I completely agree with the whole Divas roster getting better, both in-ring wise and how they're treating people outside, e.g. stories and all that, because I've never really been too involved with the Divas side of professional wrestling, but But yeah, over the past few months, almost leading up to a year, I've been getting back into the swing of it and becoming slightly more entertained by it. It's normally that was the P break, but I've mainly been sticking to other people's P break, Damien Sandow. But
yeah, we'll talk about that when we get up to it.
Oh, I got a P break for you, and it's not this Divas match.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, I got a lot to say about that other Divas match, but what Alfy was saying is this was a kind of a good match, and I'm glad they picked Naomi over Cameron to fight for the Divas title.
Oh God, yeah.
Paige using a variation on Conan's old finishing move, the 187, that packaged DDT.
That is called the Rampage.
The Rampage?
Mm-hmm. She
oh
used
my
that.
God, that is amazingly punny.
You see that when she did it on NXT before she used the Page Turner.
Okay. But it's still a variation on Conan's move, that the 187 move he used before. You would lock in the Tequila Sunrise submission hold. You would always do that. But so Paige is still the Divas champion. But up next, guys and gals, the Damien Sandow identity crisis continues. As this time, Mike, he thought he was Paul Revere.
I mean, it is amazing how far someone can fall in 1 year. A year ago, we were looking at Damien Sandow, hallelujah, holding the Money in the Bank briefcase, to being Paul Revere and jobbing to a guy who sucks on suckers in the ring.
Yeah, that is Adam Rose, and the Exotic Express, and a dancing hot dog. Really?
The hot dog is coming. The hot dog is coming.
Would that be with ketchup or mustard? I can't believe I even said that. Rose hits the party foul on Sandow, Paul Revere, and gets the victory. So I wonder how the identity crisis will continue tonight on Monday Night Raw.
Can we have Sandow identity crisis versus the Charlie Haas identity crisis?
I'm not sure. But following that, we had the Money in the Bank contract match. Kofi Kingston, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, Rob Van Dam, and Jack Swagger. Bad News Barrett being pulled out of this match due to, I want to say, an F-up by Jack Swagger on SmackDown. And, it was something, for those of you, I do apologize for omitting the SmackDown review. I just didn't have time to get it up. But one thing I did say on there is the fact that, this is kind of like strike two for Jack Swagger, in my opinion, because he's already hurt Dolph Ziggler in the ring before, and now he messed up a spot royally with Bad News Barrett on Friday Night SmackDown when he slammed him into the barricade like that, and they even acknowledged that, he got injured in an altercation with Jack Swagger, so that's just probably WWE admitting that Swagger effed up. That's pretty much what happened. But, I want to quote a phrase or something along the lines that, the man from South Park, simply known as Cartman, had to say about this match. It was a great match, but a BS ending is what he called it. It was, indeed a very high-flying type of match, something you would expect from these guys in the traditional Money in the Bank match. But, Seth Rollins, they did a series of promos before the guys came out, talking to him, like, what's going to happen in the Money in the Bank contract match. And one of the things Seth Rollins said was there was always a plan B. You guys know those ominous words. Their plan B was Kane. Kane came out, chokeslammed Dean Ambrose, who looked like he really royally messed up his arm or his collarbone when he did that spot off the ladder. But we want to talk about insane spots. They did that, of course, that, usual Rector set the ladder right here against the ladder. And man, oh man, did Rollins ever take just one of the nastiest bumps I've ever seen, off that Rector set. I mean, I'm really surprised he didn't break his neck. I'm talking about someone who I'm surprised didn't break his neck. Dean Ambrose with that superplex to Seth Rollins off the ladder. That landing he had, it was just like, ugh. But what that happened was the plan B was Kane coming out, taking out Dean Ambrose with the choke slam and the tombstone pile driver, then held the ladder in place while Seth Rollins climbed the ladder and grabbed the briefcase. So Seth Rollins is now your money, Mr. Money in the Bank. And James, I got to ask you your reactions to that.
That's what, as you said, this was a great ladder match. I mean, Money in the Bank ladder matches never disappoints in a long time. But really, as you said, really, it's just one of those endings like, it could have been better. And the fact that they had Kane to help out, and he's not even part of the ladder match, so. But it's because it's basically the Authority helping. It's Authority continuing to abuse their powers, and the fact is that what can you do with the Authority, basically?
Yeah, you got a point there, James. I do apologize for cutting you off there. But following that, guys and gals, we had Ryback so taking on Goldust and Stardust. And I'm gonna give it to Curtis Axel and trying to do an ode to his father, because he was kind of wearing what his father's type of ring gear. You know, if you guys know the singlet that he had on, that was very, very reminiscent of Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, when he wrestled in the WWE and WCW. That type of singlet that he had on. Stardust, Alfy?
I could see it coming a mile off when there was that whole who's the partner. I could see it a mile off. But yeah, it makes me more interested in Cody Rhodes, to be honest, because I've never really found Cody Rhodes entertaining to watch. Well, no, in fact, no, I shouldn't say that. I should say, well, I guess, like, there is nothing to him, but he has great in-ring ability, but there's nothing that really strikes me about him to make me want to watch him. But now there's this complete persona change, and there's something that... It's interesting now because he's working with his brother. They both look the same. They both act weird. Two great performers. I mean, it really brings something to the tag team that's not just Goldust and his brother. There's a connection there, and it really makes it interesting. I do like the idea.
Following that, guys and gals, of course, Stardust and Goldust do get the victory. A screw up by Ryback, so allowed Stardust to roll up Ryback for the win. Curtis Axel not too happy with that. It starts attacking Stardust, but Goldust came in and they take out Curtis Axel with a move that John Morrison and Joey Mercury kind of made famous when they were in the WWE, the Snapshot. Following that, we basically had the plot of one of the Rocky movies up next, America versus Russia. I'll let you guys figure out which one that'll be. It's Rusev taking on Big E. And one thing I gotta say, Mike, that this overall was a lot better match than I thought it would be. It's one thing that we always needed to see out of him, Mike, out of Rusev I'm talking about, is how he would handle himself on the defensive. We've never really seen that. We've always seen him just physically dominate people in the ring, but we've never really seen how he could really, fight back, come back from a defensive standpoint in a sense. Even one point he was bleeding out of the mouth. What are your thoughts about that?
I tell you, man, I love the match, dude. And despite, Big E's promo, what was it? I think it was beforehand, that kind of trying to be.
You don't like Jesse Jackson?
But no, I thought it was awesome, and I mean the whole, just I understand when someone first comes in, you gotta have them, smash, just beat people down, and then at some point have them have that match where they get beat down and they come back. I was afraid for a minute because when Big E speared him through that rope and he and Rusev hit that ground, I was afraid that he had broke his back or had some it looked like he had some internal injuries because he was bleeding from the mouth, if I'm not mistaken. But
yeah.
Man, it was awesome. Sometimes I'm not a fan of the whole, when the guy's in this, like Big E was in the submission and he goes to fight to get out, and then just flops. And I would like to have seen Biggie at least get out of it once, and then get back in it. But overall, man, Rusev's impressing me. He really is.
How you doing?
Following this, ladies and gentlemen, we find out that Fandango has an affinity for triangles. So, what better way? And they were kind of referencing the love triangle that he's in. It's Fandango as a special guest referee with Layla taking on Summer Rae. Couple of things to note about this is, why couldn't WWE let Layla come out to the Lakewood music in the opening instead of the original Fandango music? I'm not sure about that, but since she's tied in with the gimmick now with Fandango, sometimes it makes sense. But why not play the music, the Fandango music, after she wins when she hits the chick kick on Summer Rae to get the victory? That I'm a little bit puzzled about. But I don't know, James. Do you like triangles?
The last time I liked triangles was the whole AJ, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan triangle, but that's different. But here's your thing, though.
I'm not gonna comment.
Shut up. I mean, you had like love triangles that that work, but this one doesn't work. I'm sorry. I mean, we had like. As I say, we have past love triangles. You had Hogan, Savage, Miss Elizabeth, Edge, Matt Hardy, Lita. The one that I just mentioned, which I will not repeat again. But this one, it does not work. I mean, it could have done it better. It's just this one was like, it's a pits. This was a Divas match that had to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, the fans actually were not really into this matchup at all, to be honest with you. It was just kind of dead.
Where's the boners chant?
Learned that for Bo Dallas on the kickoff show with Daniel Bryan and whatnot.
Yeah. I just add something into this whole love triangle thing. I never really understood this thing on a scale of Fandango, Layla, obvious heels. And then you've got Summer Rae the face. I'm not saying that this is new. This could have been done before. I'm not sure. But why is the face trying to get with the heel? Why are they fighting over... I don't get it. I don't understand why it, like James said, doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. At least have it make sense. Why? Like, if the face won, okay, great. The face won. But what? Heel again? It doesn't make sense. Please, can someone explain this to me?
Well, they need to at least do something with them. That's to be rather honest. But speaking of that, we have the main event, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship ladder match. Roman Reigns, John Cena, Alberto Del Rio, Kane, Randy Orton, Cesaro, Bray Wyatt, and Sheamus. Needless to say, the contract match outshined this match, and that's something you never want to see happen. You never want to see one of your mid-card matches, and it's not an insult to the contract match, but it was full of mid-card guys. Kingston, Rollins, Ambrose, Ziggler, Rob Van Dam, Jack Swagger. Those are mid-card guys, and it's not as an insult, but when they outshine the main event, which was supposed to be a list of your top guys, that's really not a good thing to happen for the WWE. But other than that, they tried to make it work as much as it can. Now, here's a couple of things I want to know. I want to just get out in the open, make it known, because it was some of the comments I had on Facebook. John Cena's own hometown of Boston, Massachusetts is sick of him, is what somebody told me, and that's just like completely, utterly ridiculous. I even received one comment from somebody that said, we, the majority of real wrestling fans who hate John Cena, are sick of seeing people like you. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, really? I mean, how old are you? Are you like 16, 17, 18 years old? I'm 33. I've been watching wrestling for over 25 years, and I'm actively involved in independent wrestling as a commentator for 6 years. And you're sick of seeing someone like me who actually has respect for the business? And talking about another person who saw some of these comments, and I know he has a few things to say about it. Mike, you also saw that. What do you have to say?
Yeah, I saw some of the comments that were on your page. For example, what this guy said, he said, fans like you deserve the same verbal abuse that you're getting. Physical would only make you lick his ass more. Excuse the language, but I'm just repeating what's said. It makes me mad, and, you know, people bashing Cena. I mean, I get mad about it, but I'm kind of a little over it. But there's one specific comment, and I think that's good, and this is going to make everyone in this hangout mad and pissed off. A friend of mine, and I'm sorry, I'm going to blast his name out. I don't care, because he deserves it. His name is Cody Nevins. He's a Chicago fan. You get where I'm going with this. He said, and excuse my language here, fuck this kiddie bullshit. Fuck John Cena. I hope he gets injured. I'll let you take it from there, Billy.
All right, let's run down the list of people that they had on there and a possible scenario for each outcome. The scenario for Roman Reigns, I mean, come on. Seth Rollins winning the Money in the Bank briefcase earlier in the night. I mean, the only logical course of action they probably could have went from there is they could probably had Kane and Randy Orton beat down Roman Reigns to the point where he can't get up, and had Seth Rollins come out there, cash in, and win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and we would be talking about Seth Rollins being the WWE World Heavyweight Champion right now. That's a scenario that could have played out. Bray Wyatt, he still needs some building up. Yes, he's golden on the microphone. I'll give him that. But you know, he's just now arriving. You know, he's still within his first year in the WWE, and people already want him to be the face of the whole company. Cesaro, I'll put in the same boat as Bray Wyatt. I know I'm not going to discredit his ability or his in-ring performance, but he can't get himself over on the crowd by himself. He has to have somebody like Paul Heyman to come out and do the talking for him, just so he can get the necessary heat he needs to be a heel within the WWE. Randy Orton, I really would have seen. I'm going to lean towards him 75% to put the title back on him. We kind of knew what Kane was going to go with that one. You know, he was under orders by the authority. You know, so that's the way they're going to play that out. Sheamus, current United States champion, I think he's good where he's at right now, to be honest. And so the only logical course of action, you know, since you really don't have anybody right now that can really run solidly with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, of course we can't have Sucky Del Rio in there because, you know, when he was World Heavyweight Champion, that's exactly what he did. He sucked. Because he did nothing memorable during his World Heavyweight Championship reigns. And I'm talking about both reigns. So the only logical course of action is to put it on a guy who, in my opinion, has always been a workhorse for the WWE. He's always going out of his way. He's doing all these. Yeah, I know he's paid to do those charitable, you know, acts like, you know, with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, but he's still doing it, and that's John Cena. Now, I know a lot of fans out there like, oh, I bullshit. I hate John Cena. Like I said, you know, you already heard what I said, you know, about each one of the guys in there. You know, would Sheamus make a good WWE World Heavyweight Champion? I would think so. I would think so. He was a good WWE Champion. Roman Reigns, you know, already heard the scenario, already played out. You know, and if they would have put the title on him, that's probably, I'm going to say about 95% sure that's exactly what they were going to do. They were going to beat him down, and they're going to have Seth Rollins cash in on it. Again, Sucky Del Rio, no. Bray Wyatt needs work, still needs some work. Cesaro's still in the same boat. So, you heard what I had to say from a logical standpoint. You didn't hear me curse. You didn't hear me say you're stupid. I'm addressing you Cena haters out there. You didn't hear me curse. You didn't hear me swear. You didn't hear me say, oh, you're stupid. You're ignorant. You didn't hear me say any of that. You've heard me logically make my case. Easy for me to say. Make my case for each one of those guys and why they did not get the WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
Can I put in some stuff?
Sure.
Here's your thing though, really. Look at the WWE pecking order. John Cena is always that top guy. Look, I mean, you would have to hate him, but you have to respect him. Because he's, as you said, he's that workhorse that WWE has. He does all this charity work, he does all this thing. And the fact is that, you know, they're on plan B. They have to do something. And basically, Cena is always going to be your top guy. He's going to make the merchandise, he's going to make your money, he's going to do everything for the company. And really, you made a couple of logical good points. I mean, Cesaro, Reigns, and Riot, they could be champions, but not right now because it's still early in their career. Orton, I could have seen it because, you know, they could have always does the swerve to where, okay, Orton wins, or even Kane.
Oh, speaking of that, I'm glad you brought up Orton. And man, I don't know exactly what happened with him and that ladder during the match to his head. But,
yeah.
I mean, there's like a huge gash.
There's blood. Stop the match. Stop the match. Oh, wait, what?
Man,
I mean,
I tell you guys, another gripe I have with some fans. Wrestling's not entertaining if there's no blood.
Travel back to 1997 in ECW and screw off. That's all I gotta say.
Excuse my language again, but every Cena hater out there, the minute Orton got busted open, we're having orgasms when the minute they saw blood.
Yeah. I felt like once that, like he was like wobbly and all that stuff, I thought he had a concussion, basically.
Were there any medical reports released last night Randy Orton?
The reports are that he has a gash. He got a couple of staples. He does not have concussion. He does not have a concussion. That's the good thing.
I can't believe I've just been trying to talk and I just realised my mic was on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
5 minutes.
So, I don't know if it's a tornado siren. Either it's a tornado siren or someone playing Cesaro's music outside my house. I'm not sure which.
Oh, dang.
I want to bring Billy back to what he said before about the whole contract one outshining. I agree with that. The Money in the Bank match was designed for more athletic talent, such as you got your high flyers or your big risk takers like your Rob Van Dams, your Rey Mysterios, your Dolph Zigglers, Kofi Kingston. That match was made for them. Of course they're going to shine more in a sense that I guess they're going to do a lot more than the other guys. Because let's just say, if it was a championship scramble, the bigger guys, such as John Cena, Randy Orton, would shine more in that match because they can do more without like the use of apparatus or high big moves, I guess. Can you see what I'm getting at? Like,
yeah,
because...
like
that. So I'm not surprised they outshined it because that was my favourite match of the night by far. It was incredible. I still thought that the other one, the title one, I thought that was pretty good as well. I thought that they did quite a bit of it, including that was it the spot where they had the massive ladder in the middle of the ring, and the other one where it was kind of leaning. Was that in the first or second one?
I think that might have been in the second one.
Yeah, the leaning to where
was really weird, and I thought it was really good.
Yep.
You're talking about the leaning one when like two people on the ladder.
I think it was Cesaro and Rob Van Dam that were on it.
No, Rob Van Dam was on it. It was
No. It was
Cesaro.
Yeah, Cesaro and Sheamus. I do apologize. But anyway, guys and gals, it's time to go on our overall scores and our picks for best and worst match. I'm not going to say segment because there were no segments on Money in the Bank. It was just straight match after match after match. Best and worst match of Money in the Bank. The Money in the Bank pay-per-view, despite a couple of low spots, during the evening, Summer Rae, Layla, and of course the Damien Sandow identity crisis continuing. It was an overall decent show. It definitely was. It's going to rank a 3.5 out of 5 from me. Best match of the night, as you guys can probably guess, the traditional Money in the Bank contract match. It really stole the show, in my opinion, despite the ending, as some people would say. I know a lot of people out there are very upset about John Cena winning the championship for the 15th time, but I've already stated my case twice, logically, without insulting anybody or any of the haters out there as to why John Cena was the best choice for the championship right now. And I know a lot of fans are really upset about Daniel Bryan losing it, but injuries happen. These guys really do get hurt when they do get hurt, so that's why they had to take the title off of Daniel Bryan. And hearing the news last night on Money in the Bank that the strength in his arm was not returning and he might need another surgery, it's definitely going to prolong his return. I mean, I want to say probably within a year or so we might see him back, unless that angle they did last night was part of a storyline. Then I see him coming back sooner. But if that's legit what Daniel Bryan said, and I'm tending to believe that it probably was legit what he said, then Daniel Bryan's probably going to be gone for a good while. Worst match of the night, believe it or not, it's not the Rusev match, because I was actually impressed by the Rusev match. It was definitely Summer Rae, Layla, and Fandango. I mean, seriously, the crowd was just dead. It was flat out boring. There was no pop for any of them. There was no pop for any big move that they tried during the match. There was just, just people just looking at it and like, two girls in the ring. So what? That's why it's getting worst match of the night. I mean, it was just a completely dead match, in my opinion. And that's saying something when that match was worse than the Damien Sandow identity crisis. That's exactly where I'm going with that one, because that one actually got some pop, some flavor, and a hot dog and a dancing chicken with a rabbit. So you guys heard my take. Let's go to James next. Get his overall score and his picks for best and worst match of Money in the Bank. James?
Go to me next. Just go to somebody else. I'm doing something quick. Hold on.
All right. Well, let's go to Squire Alfy. Alfy, your picks for best and worst match for Money in the Bank and your overall score.
Obvious winner for best match is the traditional Money in the Bank ladder match for contract. Obvious best match. And might I add, that pop that Dean Ambrose got when he came back out, might I mention, that was incredible. That was a great pop. I completely agree. Worst match on the card had to be the Divas match. For every single point that you said, Billy, there was no crowd. It was just boring. There was nothing to it. The Sandow one only beats it because there's something that I find slightly humorous about hearing JBL talk about the bunny. That's about it. That's why it beats it. So
JBL
yeah.
sounded like he was suffering on commentary during the night, didn't it?
In what way?
Like he was losing his voice. I've had it happen to me several times.
It might have done actually. It did sound a bit different. He was quite. I thought he was a bit quieter than the others as well. So yeah.
Yeah, it happens to commentators more than you think. It actually happened to Michael Cole, believe it or not, on a pay-per-view. I'm trying to remember which one it was, but it was like a while back, and even Jim Ross has actually had that happen to him where he has lost his voice. But anyway, let's go to Mike from Iowa next, get his overall score and his picks for best and worst match of Money in the Bank. Mike?
Before I say that real quick, I want to add one other detail. I wasn't, I don't mind Cena winning. I wasn't too thrilled with how quick, 2 attitude adjustments, climbing the ladder and grabbing the briefcase. But I'm still not mad about that. Just want to throw that little detail in. But best match of the night, I'm gonna agree. The traditional Money in the Bank contract ladder match. again, I have to admit to everybody that's watching, I am a little biased because I'm from the same town as Seth Rollins, so I am a little biased. However, it was still an amazing match. I did not like how it ended with, Kane, but I thought something kabuki-ish was going to happen. No, not the great kabuki, but anyways, so yeah, that was just awesome. All the spots all over the place. Worst match.
You guys got a problem with your train? Yeah.
Layla and Summer Rae. I mean, honestly,
it's not so bad.
I saw the match start. I looked back to my computer because I was typing on Skype with some friends. Like, this is a good pay-per-view. I look back and ding, ding, ding. Like, what? Match is over? Okay, so whatever. But overall, I had fun. Let's see, we're going out of 5 stars, so I'm gonna say 4, because for me the only match I really had a problem with was Layla Summer Rae. Every other match I was thoroughly entertained with for the most part, so I don't really have a complaint. I enjoyed Money in the Bank. It was, for me, top 3 so far this year, I'd say. But,
hey, dude.
there's another YouTuber here in the YWC by the name of Bruce Bliss, and I know that that guy just hates John Cena with a passion. And like I said, it's just something I'll never understand. But
can I say something?
Real quick.
When your review is almost longer than the show itself, you have a problem.
It's been since
sometimes longer. I've seen him like 2-hour, 3-hour reviews that he does.
A friend of mine from the network page, Andrew, he said he literally sat through the first 30 minutes and was just Cena sucks, F Cena, Cena sucks. I'm sorry, it blows my mind. I mean, if you don't like Cena, that is completely fine. But when you're like that guy, oh my god.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm gonna stop before I get your channel banned.
Another guy that you might want to look into is another Cena hater who I really cannot stand because he is so arrogant. His name is Muse Productions. I'm not sure if you heard of him before.
Not really.
But he made, I think it was a 10-minute long video dedicated to why he hates John Cena so much. And I was I was watching it and I was like, you are just so stupid. Just give it up. He was picking at the small details.
Yeah, but before we get completely off track and off kilter, we need to go to James finally and get his overall score and his picks for best and worst match of Money in the Bank. James?
I give it a 4 out of 5. The best match has to be the traditional. A lot of the good spots. I mean, yeah, bullshit ending, but you kind of have to expect it. It was the Authority,
Mm-hmm.
The Authority always have a plan B. So, yeah. The worst one has to be the Love Triangle match. But I do have there is a segment. There was a best segment I like. Daniel Bryan telling Bo Dallas to leave.
I don't really think that counts. That was the only segment. That's kind of cheating a bit.
Yeah, well, yeah, he does have a point there. But
I thought that was a bit creative as well, what Daniel Bryan said. I didn't see that one coming, actually.
Yeah, that was actually good, to be honest with you. But finally, guys and gals, what we want to know now from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts about Money in the Bank. Your reactions to Seth Rollins grabbing the Money in the Bank briefcase. Your reactions to John Cena becoming the WWE World Heavyweight Champion and becoming a 15-time champion. And keep in mind, I did not curse you haters. I respectively made my case logically. I can only ask for this for you guys to do the same in return. Okay, just wanted to get that out there. You know, I'm not a troll. I'm a guy who respects wrestling. I respect everyone in wrestling. So if you had enough respect to for me to watch this, I can only ask that you guys give me that respect in return and respectfully make your case as to why you thought John Cena was not the right person to become the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. We definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. Be sure you put your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and favorite this video. And guys and gals, when he's just not believing in triangles and stars, ladies and gentlemen, he's over in the Huda Temple on iVlog. James, you got anything coming up?
Can I tell YouTube Bowl? Leave? Anyway.
Cesaro's music's going off again.
Oh no.
Anyway, you can find me on iVlog.tv/user/504. We're doing. I'm kind of on hiatus, but it's also World Cup time, and also if we do live, we do game shows, games, sports talk, wrestling talk, and you can find me on the Hardcore Wrestling Facebook page and the WGS-TV Facebook page. Cesaro's coming.
I got one even better. Mike, you better be looking out for Perry Saturn, because he might be outside your house right now as well. But speaking of that, Mike, you're still on the WWE Network Facebook page, are you not?
Well, it's Pro Wrestling Network now. Ever since the WWE Network debuted and kind of stole our URL. But yeah, it's P Wrestling Net. I haven't been posting much lately because I've been taking a little bit of a break because, again, fans can be fans and sometimes you just gotta step back. But that's all I'm doing, that, just working, playing video games, PS3, PS4, all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm just chilling and relaxing right now, waiting for the summer to kind of pick up. But, yeah, that's just me.
And tell Perry Saturn I said to shut up. And finally, the Pro Wrestling lad Alfy is also on Facebook. Alfy, you want to tell everyone about it?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook at facebook.com/ProWrestlingLad. I haven't been posting too much recently. I've been very, very busy with a lot of different side projects, including making a short film. So, yeah, it's kind of a big deal, so I've been working very hard on that. And you can find me on YouTube. Just search Alfy Saxby, AOFIE space SAXBY into YouTube, and you shall find me.
Fans, don't forget to like the Facebook page, facebook.com/WGS-TV, and don't forget to please subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGamer and youtube.com/ZFXTV Network if you haven't already. So for the Pro Wrestling lad Alfy, James from the Big Easy, and Mike from Iowa, I'm the WrestleGamer, Double Bucho, saying thank you very much for watching.
Billy respects everyone in the business so long as it's not Nelson Fraser Jr.'s ex-wife.